What are you doing?
I don't That was another great main event. Like we had another chop fest like last week. I know I came on here all chopped out last week, but this week we had Smoke and Mirrors doing the thing with the chop fest. So it's almost like the air guitar finished with the chop. Air guitar finished with the chop. There's so many chops. Is Sergey okay? I think Sergey's okay after that. He kind of looked like a mess there, didn't it, for a few minutes, didn't he?
Yeah, a little bit.
I hope he's all right. Hope he's all right. Good win at the end for the boys, though. But good main event. Great matches tonight on Ignition. Outstanding night tonight.
What is happening over on YouTube?
What'd you do? Did we already break it? We just got here. See, this is why we can't have nice things. Like ever.
No, it's working. It's saying that there's
Okay.
zero. Is it? It's saying that the bit rate is at 0 over on YouTube, which doesn't make any sense because we're doing pretty good over here.
I'm watching it on YouTube on my phone right here, and it's working. What's up, Splinter? How you doing? Yeah, wicked fire tonight, huh? Great night tonight on Ignition.
Type in one on YouTube if you can hear us, because if you can hear us, then I'm just going to ignore that.
I'm gonna type 1 because I can hear me.
You can hear you through YouTube.
Oh, no. I don't know. Maybe.
No,
Yes, I can hear me through
okay.
YouTube. Yes, I can.
Okay.
I can hear me. Can you hear me? Hear you hear me?
All right, we have Yaden and Hunter on Twitch. We got a 1 over there on Hunter, so they can hear us on Twitch. I didn't get the notification on Twitch. I think we were good there.
Hope so. It's happening over there, gentlemen. YouTube, Twitch, wherever you are. Dudes and Belts, Rocky Mountain Pro Land. We are here right now.
Oh, dude,
Thanks for checking us out.
the next 48 hours over here are going to be pretty screwy. So,
It's a gorgeous afternoon. Then, all hell's going to break loose with the hurricane tomorrow night. And, good stuff. Like they say here in New England, you don't like the weather, just wait 5 minutes. It'll change. Usually for the worst.
yeah, but it's
It's
going to
kind of
take
the
48
situation.
hours to change, though.
Yeah, I know, but still, it'll change in 5 minutes, but it'll be like that for a while.
Yes. We'll go with that.
It's definitely going to change for the worst. Yes.
And we'll talk a little bit about what's happening this weekend towards the end. So we will let you guys know updates on the situation at hand. But before we get into that, we need to talk about an ignition that just happened about 15 minutes ago. And with that in mind, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another edition of the Dudes and Belts Reignited post show here on YouTube, Twitch, and Rumble. I am your host, Johnny Deathdrop, and like we were just saying, one hell of a show RMP put on tonight. We got a lot to talk about here. 6 big matches on the card tonight. To help me out, not us, to help me break everything down, we have our resident masshole himself. He is the one and only Marky Pins.
What is good, everybody? I'm looking on stream and I'm in the big box tonight. It's just me. So come on in with some questions as we go back through a hell of an ignition that we just saw. We're seeing the rivalry continue with Adrian Mascara and Lola, the big 6-man tag to end the night. The first match of the night, though, was actually pretty interesting with Echo Boostin and Jay Camacho here. We're going to get into this very, very shortly. A battle of experience versus youth and vigor. Great match. Great ignition tonight, too, all around.
What do you mean in a few minutes? We're gonna do it right now, as a matter of fact, because the first match
I totally meant a few seconds.
You
I just
totally meant a few seconds.
I was off by a level. I'm just so hyped up. There's an air guitar, there's chops,
You're getting
there's
ahead of the game,
rivalries.
man.
There's so many things going on.
Well, let's talk about Echo Boostin versus Jay Camacho here to start things off on Ignition.
This is a great match to start the show off with. Sending the kid out there, Jay Camacho, trying to find his way, and against somebody like an Echo who has all the XP, and he's only gaining it, especially with this recent turn of attitude and events where he's just kind of laying the law down with one shot at a time. And that was kind of the tale of this match. Jay brilled the fire, get a nice reversal, and then Echo shut the door with one move. Big clothesline, just knock it down. Jay gets some fire, keep going. Bang, Echo's right there with the huge clothesline yet again. He does so very, very well. Echo does a lot of I don't want to say coming from behind here, but I think Jay turned the volume up a lot more than a lot of other wrestlers have turned up the volume against Echo, just with the speed and quickness. As we know, Echo has it in spades as well. But lately, he's been choosing to wrestle a lot of slower paced matches. But with that slow pace, also comes the ability for that one game breaker impact, like I was just speaking of. And Echo sets the tone by just earlier in the match tossing Jay into the ropes, just like face first, and kind of changing the whole momentum of the match. And each time Jay does get some momentum, Echo just shuts the door, and the finish of the match is no different. Jay finally gets the cross body, gets the near fall off the ropes, but then just gets absolutely pasted by a punctuation mark drop kick to the face. I mean, he just left the two dots from the bottom of his boots, one in Jay's chest, one in his face, and Jay's down for the 1, 2, 3. And Echo looking solid here. Not really fighting from behind here, but having to pull out some of the stops against a quicker opponent that he really hasn't faced much, and nobody like him recently too as well. So good showing for Jay, but Echo continuing his winning ways here, John. And there's nothing to say that this isn't going to keep going further. Echo's new attitude, this keep moving forward mentality. I'm telling you, man, we may not like it, but the sky might be the limit for the kid right now.
What, for Jay?
No, for Echo at the moment in
Oh,
time, even though he was already on his way, this new change of aggression and attitude is really kind of seemed to hit the gas pedal on things, don't you think?
I do agree. He is going to have to deal with one Balaam Lynx at some point down the road, as you've been
Fact.
seeing on charge. And I know you're not on recharge as of right now, at least sporadically for the next few months or so. Uh, Balaam is still in the background, and we saw what happened at the end of charge this past Tuesday. Once again, looking back in the past, trying to figure out what happened between him and Echo. Echo right now is treating this situation nonchalantly. He is paying no mind to Balaam at the moment, which could be a good thing, could be a bad thing. Because if you get too complacent and you completely forget about Balaam, it seems like Balaam's getting ready to strike at some point,
Mhm.
or is really contemplating what's going to happen. So Echo should have that in mind. The attitude, I don't like it, obviously, because I mean I've known Echo for a while now, and some on a personal level, but at the same time, he's doing what he's got to do, and if this new attitude means it's going to skyrocket him to the top of the food chain, then all the power to him. Do I agree with it? No, but who am I to judge? So far, he's been winning matches ever since he turned this new leaf. So that's one thing. And then going back to Jay Camacho, I mean, he came out of nowhere,
Yep.
literally impressed all of us here on the Dudes and Belts and some.
Fact.
The one thing
Eh,
that I noticed tonight from Jay is that and I know he's very young and he's very new, he needs to develop more of a game plan. He spent a good chunk of time just throwing kicks and punches and couldn't really figure out a creative way or a logistical way to really get Echo off his game throughout the course of the match. You can only punch and kick somebody for so long before somebody catches on and really kind of understands what you're trying to do. So I think, and granted, this is going to take some time. He is still very new and green in the wrestling business, but he is going to have to at some point develop a game plan, if not two or three, before his match. Is going to be a lot of film study and all that stuff that's going to have to go into it. But he's learning and he's doing a great job. So hats off to Jay, having a good first couple weeks here on Rocky Mountain Pro Programming.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think you're right. That's just going to come with XP, with matches, against somebody who has as much XP as Echo. And even going forward for Jay here, that's a great point, John. He is going to have to get kind of like a combo of move sets and different things, because you're right. The punches and kicks can kind of only last so long before a guy just gets frustrated, gets that adrenaline shot, much like we saw at the end of this match. He had been working to hit that crossbody a couple times. He finally hits it. And then it almost seemed like that was when Echo got that adrenaline to fire up out of the cover and then just get that drop kick for the win. Maybe if he had worn him down a few other different ways, we'll see going forward. But I really got to say, Jay off to a wicked good start.
All right, before we before we continue here, don't typically do this over here on Twitch too much because we don't really see the chat a whole hell of a lot, but I do have it up here tonight, and I have been getting better at it. So we do want to give a couple of shout outs here. This was during the course of Ignition that I don't know was mentioned at all, so we're going to mention it here on Dudes and Belts. Want to thank Sandman1469 for resubscribing for 1 month for 39 months.
39 months.
39
Dude.
over 3 years.
3 years and some change, yeah.
Yeah, and we
finally something that was longer than JK Pop's title reign. We finally get to hear something good.
And then we have Mop Boy resubscribing with Prime. They've been subscribed for 29 months, so over 2 years with that one.
Excellent. Thank you very much for your subscriptions, guys. We really, really appreciate them here. Very much.
And Mop Boy also cheering 10 bits on top of that.
Mop Boy. I love Twitch names. I love online handle names. They're outstanding. Outstanding.
They really are.
And especially in the wrestling community, they're outstanding.
All right, let's move on to the next match here. The other side of this newly aligned group here. Brew is going up against Panthro here in this match. What are your thoughts on this one?
I think Panthro did have a game plan here. We talked about Jay and Echo a minute ago. Maybe Jay not having a great like A to B to C game plan. I think Panthro did have a game plan here. I think his game plan was be faster than the Buffalo. The cat is absolutely faster than the Buffalo, so use that. And very early, Panthro was far faster. He's only getting in a couple little shots here and there, but they're actually kind of serving to frustrate Brew the more he can't catch him. And when Brew finally catches the cat, he keeps the cat down, and Panthro needed all 9 of his lives throughout the course of this match as we go. Brew hit Panthro with a standing knee directly to the face as Panthro was trying to fight up. It was just devastating. Panthro just kind of went out on his back for a few seconds, and then the standing toe hold, like the leg lock, it almost looked like a wrenching heel lock or whatever it was that Brew had on. He was coupling it with chops to the chest, just really taking Panthro from pillar to post here. Panthro does get, at the end, he takes him from 3 posts trying to get these cat runs here, but by this point, Panthro's left leg is junk. After he worked on that leg, after Brew worked on that leg for so long, the elbow drops and the knee drops to the knee, man. His left leg is just junk. So there's really nothing on them, even though Panthro's hitting him with everything he can. He's trying to drive on the highway with a broken pop tire here. So he's only on 3 wheels. So he's not getting a whole hell of a lot of it. But Brew eventually puts the kibosh on all of this, and he blocks one of the last cat runs and misses the first Buffalo run, but doesn't miss the second one. Actually hit him so hard, he caught him in midair and then just kind of dumped him over his back. So it was like a Buffalo run body drop, man. Just combine those things, put that in a sandwich and try to eat that. It was just detrimental. Panthro couldn't move after that. So we get the 1, 2, 3. And Brew and Echo, the new team, the new brothers, the new kindred spirits get the win here in the first 2 matches. Brew looking strong. Panthro took him to a little bit of a limit, John, but Brew had that resilience at the end, just that extra power.
Did you notice?
I think this is the good thing with him and Echo, the yin and the yang.
Did you notice how different Brew was in the ring compared to past matches from Brew?
Extremely.
It seems like he's been taking some pointers from Echo, and they've been working together too. So this might work out in their favor down the line.
Yeah. You teach Brew some new holds and some power holds with his size. Can you imagine a figure 4 coming from a guy like Brew? Can you imagine even like a camel clutch or something heavier, like with a bigger guy doing it? Detrimental, man. If he learns some of those moves, because we saw that leg lace and we've never seen him use that before. So I wouldn't doubt if that's Echo and him staying after training and kind of figuring out a few extra things here to make their moves a little more impactful than most.
Like I said, I don't like what's happening here between these two. I don't like their new formed attitudes. But hey, we've said this to a few people over the course of the past, let's just say, roughly a year. Noel was one of the top ones that went from the juvenile delinquent to the marionette right now. And although we didn't really like it at first, she improved and got better and was getting wins and was learning from, Salem and JC back in the asylum. So even though we don't like these attitude changes at times, that doesn't mean that it doesn't lead to success. And case in point right here, both Echo and Brew coming out with victories here. And you're seeing the change as well between these two. Bruce showed it more than probably Echo tonight. It's going to be probably a very good combination between these two.
I think it fits a lot better than most. The chemistry that's growing between these two, I think it's going to fit a lot better than most that we've seen kind of come together off to the side. And if both of these guys are elevating their games to each other, if Echo is bringing Brew up and they're coming to that point, watch out. Watch out. But like you said earlier, there's that wild card, Balaam Lynx, waiting in the wings, lurking somewhere, keeping an eye on all of this. Is that wild card, and they cannot.
I don't know if Balaam necessarily is keeping an eye on them per se, but he's more or less kind of reliving what's going on and what happened. Balaam right now, his head is still trying to figure out what the hell happened between those two, and not so much focused on exactly what they're doing at that time.
No, but Balaam is still wicked smart too, even with the way that he goes about his preparation and things. So even if he got hurt, even if he's trying to figure out what's going on, even if there's that change that's happening in him, there's no way that he's going to watch this next step in Echo's path, his ex-friend's path, who he still has a margin of vengeance to go back after him and has a damn good reason to. There's no reason to think that he wouldn't be sitting around and watching this next evolution of himself, and especially where he's bringing the Buffalo with him.
I don't think he's going to plan.
To ignore it would be folly.
I don't think he's planning on an attack until he figures out exactly what happened. I honestly, I think he's that screwed up in the head right now that he's not even worried about doing anything to Echo until he legit figures out the issue at hand. Because again, we still don't know what happened. Echo never came out and said exactly why he did what he did. Okay,
I don't even think Balaam knows.
No, that's what he's doing. That's what he's doing. But however, some is definitely settling in with Balaam, because you're seeing the metamorphosis of what's happening with Balaam over the course of the past couple of weeks, of him looking back. You see the eyes starting to go. You saw the fangs on Supercharge recently. You know that there's something going on, obviously, with Balaam. And I don't know if it's a way to kind of not... I don't know if he's fighting it in a way that he doesn't want it to happen. He just kind of wants to... I don't know. It's a very weird situation between Echo and Balaam right now. And Brew, technically, because he kind of set this whole thing in motion. But it's very hard to tell. It seems like he's letting go.
I think he was more the catalyst. Brew was more the catalyst that I think might have tipped Echo's scales a little bit. We don't know if there was any discussion beforehand or how long.
I'm thinking more Balaam scale than Echo. Because you got to remember that Balaam and Echo were set to face off in the finals of Supercharge. And then you have Brew coming out of nowhere and causing the damage that he did to Balaam, and that's when we saw those
there's no way that came out of nowhere. There's no way that was out of nowhere. No way in hell. That was orchestrated. That was a thing. And what we're seeing now out of Echo and Brew is proof positive of that. There's no way.
No, for us, it was out of nowhere. For Echo, I'm sure it was premeditated right from the get-go.
Oh yeah, 100%.
In case that match actually happened. I think Balaam's trying to keep that inside to a degree. I think I firmly believe he wants to let it out and lash it out at Echo at some point down the road. He just needs to have a reason to do it, I think, to be honest. And I think he needs closure before he does that. And I think that's what he's searching for.
And that's fair. That's fair. He deserves it, if anything.
Oh, yeah. I think we all do. We all do.
At least to know what in the hell it was. It flipped this whole pancake upside down.
It was literally the super kick out of nowhere. Literally shocked the world, at least the RMP world. You know what I
Back.
mean?
Yep.
So
Yep.
again, we'll find out more as the weeks go, and we are getting closer to Shocktober. So God only knows what's going to happen then. But until then, we sit, wait, and watch, and see what happens going forward. Before we continue on with tonight, as always, for those watching on Rumble and on YouTube, if you guys please don't mind hitting that subscribe button, turn on the notification bell so you guys don't miss a single Dudes and Belts or Rocky Mountain Pro episode or live wrestling content here on both channels. And of course, make sure you hit that like button and make sure you leave a comment. Let us know what you thought about Ignition tonight. We would like to hear from the RMP faithful. And who knows, maybe your comment will be read live on one of our future Dudes and Belts programming. We are going to try. We are going to be, and this is for Rumble and YouTube specifically, there is going to be a segment starting up within the next week or two, and we're going to go back and we're going to read the comments out loud during the end of our shows to get all you guys involved. So we want to hear what you think about these shows. Give us your feedback. We greatly appreciate you.
We do.
All right. Moving on here. We had some Lockettes action to talk about this evening. We had Lola the Adventurer going up against Adrian Mascara.
So these two went to school. They've gone to school before they started wrestling each other.
We all went to school.
Right. But they're going to school on each other here because we noticed in this match, and I noticed in this match, that both of these women kind of went for a lot of the same moves and tried to wrestle a similar match that they wrestled last week. And they were both much more ready for each other, as is proof evident that both women going after the same arm submissions and both women now discovering the counters to actually put the other one's shoulders down for a near fall. After a quick start from Adrian, Lola takes back over the nice arm stretch from the back. Adrian rolls her back up, letting her know, hey, we're going to do this again. And then we get going, and Adrian with the crucifix to Lola and letting her know, hey, this is how I beat you last time. And she kicks out of that. And we go in a very fast-paced back and forth match between the two. Lola goes for a wicked tight heel lock. She finally stopped working on the arm and goes for the leg. Adrian manages to wiggle herself out and comes off the ropes. And we see her get the surprise sunset flip for the win. We don't normally see something like this happen in the Lockettes division. Normally it's, between these two, we see the X marks or we see the psychedel lock from Adrian. But kind of Adrian just kind of caught Lola standing there for 3 seconds, and she gets the 1, 2, 3. After a real fast-paced match from both of them, Adrian walks out here as a clear victor after a pretty good back and forth pace match. John, I really thought that they both picked up the volume from last week, and they're both kind of going to school on what the other one is offering. And they're starting to wrestle real good matches. This is very similar to earlier this year when we saw Lola have her interactions with Lilith Grimm. We would see week in and week out on Thursdays on Ignition here. And all their matches were getting better and better. And now we're watching Lola and Adrian do the same thing. Both are bringing themselves up. Another great match by the Lockettes. Thought it was really, really good.
I just can't get over the fact that it seems like every week that goes by, we see Adrian Mascara continue to get better and better.
Uh-huh.
And
the XP bar, baby.
There's something new that she pulls out every single time.
Mm-hmm.
It's amazing to watch, and it really gives a lot of credit to Al Snow, Wrestling Academy, Rocky Mountain to see a lot of these young stars, not just Adrian, but I mean we saw Jay Camacho, and we're going to be talking about Queso in a little while, and Mick Diamond and all these guys just this year alone. And I mean, we've seen quite a bit of rookie classes come out from Rocky Mountain Pro over the past few years and have escalated their game all the time. We saw it with David Drake, we saw it with Owen, we saw it with Briscoe Crown, et cetera, and look at where they are now. You know what I mean? So, right. I mean, this is just another perfect example on what happens when you go to training and you put in the work and you put in the time and you get results like this. And it is fun to watch. It really is. Lola, I mean, Lola has had one of these type of years. She's had nights where she's on top of the world. She's had nights where she's competing for the Lockett's Championship, number one contenderships a few times this year.
Mhm.
Couldn't get the big win, but that's okay. Sometimes you got to lose a lot before you get that big win. It's part of life.
It's how we learn.
But
It's how we
she's
learn.
also been on some where, she'll lose 5 or 6 matches in a row and just lose her momentum, and she has to go build it back up again. And this is one of her little skids. I'm not saying that she didn't perform well, because she definitely performed enough to win. It just didn't happen. Adrian was just one move better, or one move smarter at that moment. And all it takes
Adrian's
is 3
volume.
seconds.
Adrian's volume was just turned up that extra tick or two to get that 3 seconds on that sunset flip that Lola just didn't see coming. Other than that, before that match, this match was a literal coin flip with how well the two women were reversing each other, getting the other one into a predicament, and Adrian went to a basic move. Instead of trying to outsmart and overthink and try to, how do I get back to the psychedel lock? Hey, just put her shoulders on the mat. Instead of going for the 50-yard completion, sometimes you just go for the 8-yard out and you get out of bounds. And you could do something different. Even if the sunset flip doesn't work, hey, Lola just had to use a lot of energy to kick out of it. But if it does work, then holy hell, I just won the match out of nowhere. And option B this evening. So good showing, a game plan, good showing, a nice bag of tricks. Both of the ladies kicking ass. Tonight was Adrian's night.
All right, after we saw that, we had ourselves a hell of a hoss fight, ladies and gentlemen. These guys. We had Jason Knoll going up against Damon Ace, your NRW champion.
Hey, real quick though, before we start, D Hort renewing his membership for 7 months. 7 months hanging with the boys. Good to hang with you too, D.
Oh my God! Why is the chat
fun.
not working?
It just popped up. It just popped up just now. Thank you for your resub, D. We really appreciate you, bro.
I gotta figure something out here. This is not reliable. I can't stand this whole restream BS here. Screw it. I don't have it. I haven't figured that out yet.
I have Bobby McFerrin's sound effect.
I am going to. I think Stream Deck does. Well, I think it does enable you to do the sound effects. I just haven't quite figured it out yet. It's going to be a pretty long weekend for us up here in the Northeast. So as long as I still have power, maybe I'll be able to figure that out, and we'll have some type of enjoyment come out of it.
Power thing isn't iffy with coming up this weekend, but what wasn't iffy was the action and the shots and the just otherwise unbridled aggression and meat hook shots throwing it back and forth between Jason and Damon. Just to set the tone of the match, we had a lockup, Damon backs Jason into the corner, and then a chop that I think cracked 2 windows at the front of the Wimmer with the sound that came off. That was the first move of the match. That just sets the tone here. That this was going to be a real hard-hitting, everything that has everything to do with a hoss fight. And that's exactly what we got. Jason Knoll uses all the power. Damon Ace uses all the power. Neither one of these guys can take each other out. You got Ace throwing one of the prettiest spine busters that I've ever seen. You got Jason Knoll going for the sky high. That doesn't work. So 5 shoulder blocks in the corner will damn sure work. That even takes Damon Ace down to 1 knee. I mean, it's just absolutely so back and forth. Big clothesline. Damon scores the leg drop. Jason gets up with the big club and hooks to the back. That's when Ace hits the spine bust. I mean, it's just big guy shot after big guy shot. Just, if you like just a good old beat 'em up match, this was for you. But at the very end of it, the story of this is Damon Ace kind of having that one last move in the bag of tricks that he didn't show the entire match, which was that rear naked choke. And he does get it after a beautiful side Russian off of the second rope. And yes, I said that right. Damon Ace went up to the second rope with Jason Knoll and brought him back down with a side Russian. Never seen him do that before. He brought out all the stops tonight to get this win. Reversing Knoll's O'Connor roll. He just sat right up and just grabbed Knoll, pulled him down, and that was the end of it. You are not getting out of the clutches of Damon Ace when he gets you on the mat from the back and he's choking you out. It's over. Noel passes out, and Damon Ace with a real hard fought win, and he knows he was in a match. He was huffing, and he's going to be sore in the morning. Noel threw everything he could at him, but this was an outstanding match from both of the fellas. And this is one of those matches that, if you remember a while back, Jason Noel was asking for respect, and he was looking for all this respect me. This is the way that you get that respect. You go out there and have one of the hottest hitting matches in RMP that we've seen in the last 6 months. And some of those other hardest hitting were the ones that we saw between Damon Ace and Mercury Aiden in that battle for the NRW title. You have some of these matches. Mr. Noel, I take my hat off to you and respect what you did tonight in the ring. That was pretty damn good. But Damon Ace had that extra move at the end and does get the big W. And his momentum is going strong, John, with no end in sight.
Well, he's going to have to harness that and keep that momentum going, because his run-in with Simbodi is fastly coming. And
It is.
if last Tuesday was any indication about how personal this match is going to be at Shocktober, he's going to need all of what Damon has and some to be able to retain that NRW championship going into Shocktober. Jason Noel, you gotta give the man credit, man. Jason Noel, I think definitely earned some respects. I think for all of us here, it was probably one of the best hoss fight matches we've seen in a very long time, and Jason Noel has definitely held his own. And I honestly believe that this might have been the match to maybe possibly turn the corner. I know that Jason Noel lost tonight, but the way that he fought and the way that he took Damien Ace to the limit, this
That's
might
not
have
an
been it.
exaggeration either.
This
He did.
this might have been it. This might have been the match to possibly turn Jason Noel's year around. Hopefully. And we don't know what's going to happen with him going forward, but I know this. If Jason Noel can put up that type of performance week in and week out against opponents like that, he's going to come out winning more often than he loses. And I have a funny feeling that if that is the case, then we're going to see Jason Noel have a sudden rise in Rocky Mountain Pro over the next 6 months. But time will tell, of course.
If he can bring that fight to almost anybody else in the locker room, Jason Noel can put a W up on the board. And hopefully Jason sees that in himself, that he elevated himself tonight because he knew who his opponent was and he brought his game up. That's legit. You can like Jason Noel, you can hate Jason Noel all you want. Because, I mean, he's still yelling at referees and getting in people's faces and stuff like that. So there's still a lot that's very unsavory about Jason Noel. We're not sitting here singing those praises. But if he can bring that kind of aggression level inside the ropes to his opponent, he's going to win a lot of matches if he fights the way he did tonight. And if he can see that, the road is very, very tough ahead for anybody who draws Jason Noel's number any other night.
All right, let's move on here. We have a rematch of a Tribe Championship match not too long ago this year. We had Remy D going up against your Rocky Mountain Pro heavyweight champion Curtis Cole here in the semi-main event.
Yeah, the roles have reversed a little bit since the last time that these guys saw each other. There is absolutely zero love loss between these two. The only love that is that I think they both love to hate each other after everything that we saw during that feud and how disgusting. It was actually some of the beginning of this unraveling of Curtis Cole that we see now, like the Cole that is there now that doesn't care about anything except shaking his ass in front of the camera. I think a lot of it divulged with the beginning of Remy D when he was the charge champion last year. And, you know, I tell you, Remy does a good thing in the beginning. Instead of coming out and letting this get over emotional and losing himself, he actually comes out and tries to have a wrestling match with Curtis Cole. And he does really well to ground him in the beginning, keep him down, take an arm and stuff. And Cole is forever jumping out of the ring, taking a walk. He's getting frustrated. He's starting to get really ticked off here that Remy's not going to any kind of over emotional bag of tricks or nothing. He's just keeping it cool, nice level head, and actually trying to wrestle Cole. And in doing this, Curtis Cole eventually starts frustrating Remy D by keep going out of the ring and messing around with him. So it kind of goes back and forth. Both of these guys understand the mind games that they can both play and how they can get inside of each other's heads and mess with their opponent. And both of them kind of had it done to each other. So this was like they both know the game, I guess is the right way to say that. They both absolutely understand the game when the bell rings and the game that's inside of the ears, not just inside of the ropes. So they both get the game and they're both very, very good at it. But Remy starts to take off with the first advantage. Once Cole does get back in, Remy gets the first advantage with the insult to injury, a lot of quick kicks. Cole loves to go to the hair in this match. Remy D has the long locks, and Cole is just pulling him all over the place, taking Remy down. Every time Remy gets an up, Curtis Cole yanks the hair and pulls him back down. And then he goes with the neck wrenches and the slow, methodical pace that Cole's become synonymous with. Again, like I said, shaking his ass in front of the camera, giving dirty looks to the kids. He tried to rip the sign out of the girl's hand that was in the crowd tonight. Freaking knucklehead. And then Cole decides he
kicked my puppy.
Kicked my puppy. And you know what? I believe it 130% that bastard was walking down the street and kicked that poor kid's puppy. I'm sorry for that girl, and good for her for making a sign and calling him out for his garbage. It gets to a point where even Cole starts getting hungry. We've already seen him go to the water. He's thirsty. He gets hungry and tries to take a bite out of Remy's head. And Remy's just like sick and tired of it. He really gets fired back and he starts getting him down. We see the drive-by in the corner. We see everything, but Curtis kind of ducks out of the way. And again, a quick move at the end kind of gets it going. After a very stalematey match, both had advantages throughout the entire time. Remy D, maybe you could say, was winning this match 60-40. But Curtis Cole won the last 3 seconds, and those are the only ones they keep track of with the Contra Code leg drop. And it gets the 1, 2, 3 on Remy D here. Curtis Cole looking good for as much as Curtis Cole looks, and as much as we hate him, I have to agree with what Derek Stone said about Curtis Cole. Not hate Derek Stone, but what he's about Curtis Cole. That you don't have to like him because nobody does. You don't have to respect him because I think Bailey, an inkling of respect just as a human, is deserved. But you have to respect what he brings to the ropes when the bell rings. And at the very bare minimum, I think Remy does respect that little bit of what is brought into the ring, but none of the other stuff. And at the end of the day, I was actually surprised that Cole won without Nux, without cheating, without anything else, even though he was pulling the hair.
He's more than capable of doing it.
He is. And that's why we look at him when he pulls a Nux out of his pocket in a match that he should honestly win anyway. And he just has to go to the knuckleheadery. He just has to be that extra bit of DB. You just don't need it, but he does it with gusto. And that's why it's just easy to look at him and say, bro, I hope you get destroyed. And Remy D tonight takes the loss here after the Contra Code. I don't think this hurts Remy too much because he fought a hell of a match, but it's a win in Curtis Cole's column, regardless of what anybody thinks about it. And I don't know if this has anything to do with it, but do you think Dean might have been watching a lot of this match and kind of scouting? Because their match at Shocktober is fast approaching, John.
If Dean is not watching, then he's making a serious mistake.
I agree.
Let's just kind of take care of this right now. Curtis Cole,
in the chat, whatever.
Oh, there's a lot of people in chat actually. We'll get to saying hi to all these guys in a second. Let me finish this.
I didn't want to say hi.
Let's just get to.
Okay, all right.
Let's just get to the facts here.
Okay.
You love him, you hate the guy. Unfortunately, you have to admire his career at Rocky Mountain Pro, what he has been able to do in his run here at RMP. Believe it or not, as much as you guys probably don't want to agree, he is going to be more than likely, actually probably about 90 to 95% sure, he is going to be a future Rocky Mountain Pro Hall of Famer, whether you like it or not. Why do you even
gotta say it, dude? Yeah, but why do you even gotta bring that up to give him that kind of clout right now while he's in the chat so we can just spout off? We know it. You don't even have to say that. Don't say that. He's here. We saw what he did. We know he can win matches. You don't have to talk about him being in the Hall of Fame and stuff, whether it's a fact or not. He won a match tonight.
It's the respect. It's the respect aspect of because I mean we hear the I hate. Actually we don't hear. We see all the hashtag I hate Curtis Cole stuff going around and all that stuff, which is fine. He definitely deserves it. That's
the T-shirt here.
The I hate Curtis Cole T-shirts and all that stuff. That's that should be happening right now. He is being that much of a d bag in that way, shape, or form. However, like we saw tonight, he doesn't have to go through with using the Nux and doing all the extracurricular stuff to be able to win a match. We know that he can win matches one-on-one. What I think is happening here in a lot of his matches is that he's just adapting to the current situations. And, he probably didn't feel like it's very distracting what you're trying to do right now, but I understand.
I'm just trying to keep it right there. There we go.
But he picks his spots, and he felt like maybe he didn't need the Nux against Remy. And that's no knock on Remy either. He just, I don't know. Curtis Cole is again, a D-bag in his own right, but you always have to give him that respect. And Remy D, on the other hand, Remy D fought a great match, did very well tonight. Obviously, he has his sights on CBD as well. But this could have easily put him in the discussion for a future Rocky Mountain Pro Championship down the road. So it was a big match for Remy D, and he definitely did what he had to do. Actually, I think Remy D started off half the match whooping his ass.
He did.
You know what I mean?
He did. That Cole kept jumping out of the ring, taking a walk, going to the water, jumping out of the ring, taking a walk, going to the water.
That's the veteran in Curtis Cole. That's he realizes that he has the disadvantage, and he just powders out. You know what I mean?
He got Remy frustrated with it. After the first couple times, Remy was cool with it, but then after a while, Remy got frustrated, went out to go get him, and then that's when Cole took over. So, like the mind job, one way and the other, it worked, and then Cole ended up stealing the advantage. All right, that's the last thing I'm saying. Nice, buddy. That's it. That's it.
Gotta show the respect, Valley, when you gotta call it like you see it. We're not saying that Curtis Cole is the all-around best human in the world currently right now, because obviously he's not. But at the same time,
literally one of the worst.
Basically, yeah. But
in the ring, you're right. He's good. He's Pissa. He's awesome. He's a champ.
So, and I mean, beating David Drake, of all people, too, to capture the Rocky Mountain Pro Championship is definitely no small feat either. We've seen David Drake's warpath as of recent year and a half. So he definitely earned it, and he's rocking and rolling. And if Dean wasn't paying attention tonight, then shame on him, because he's going to have his hands full regardless on what happens going forward, going into Shocktober. Because as of right now, it's Curtis Cole versus Danger Dean unless something changes. And I'm assuming Dean's not that guy. I'm pretty sure he's studying and he's taking this very seriously. So
he's putting up pitches that he's at training a couple nights a week, getting the body back in shape, getting those moves, little polished, chipping off some of that rust. It's been a long time. He's a hell of an announcer. He was a hell of a president. I tell you this, he'd make a hell of a champion one more time.
All right. Before we start with the main event here, we had a few people pop in during that last discussion here. So let's give some kudos to Karan Jones, Bruce Wayans, Jay Camacho, Alice Lane, KCL, and of course, Curtis Cole. Pricks and Belts, that's a new one.
Yeah, that's so original. So original.
I hope all y'all having a shit evening. No, that'll be tomorrow. That'll be tomorrow and Saturday. We'll be having shit evenings, but tonight we're having a good evening.
Actually, the wrestling was pissa tonight. It's been a good night.
All right. Moving on to the main event of the evening, we had Smoke and Mirrors and KSO going up against Chapa City and Sergey.
Anybody see Sergey collapse in the beginning of this? I was worried. I think Atiba and Bruce were worried. They got him up, but Sergey didn't seem right for the better half of the match, even though in the beginning, I think he caught a quick adrenaline shot. Man, I'm telling you, poor Mick Diamond, absolutely getting chop-tastified in the corner. They were just playing musical chops all over him, man. Atiba tagging Bruce, then tagging Sergey, tagging Bruce back in, back tagging Atiba, back tagging Sergey. I mean, he must have took 15, 20 chops in that corner and gets absolutely destroyed, taking a ton of punishment. Queso comes in, and he ends up working on Sergey a little bit. They take the advantage. Boss is a difference maker in this match. Each time he comes in, he sets that pace and he just stops it. Whether or not Cushman has the advantage, Mick has the advantage, Boss is just one of those difference makers. Atiba is as well. But tonight it was Boss's night with that difference maker stop. You know what I mean? Like they'd go for something and Boss would just shut it down. You see the elbow. We see the splashes, the Bossy splashes here. Queso and Cushman work really well together. I got to say, Smoke and Mirrors working really well with Queso in the corner for not having tagged with each other. I tell you, it kind of melded well when they did have Sergey in the corner. It seemed like they did work well. And same thing for Chopper City. Like these were 6 guys that had a partner. It's almost like that they had practiced with or that they had kind of known with. So there wasn't that awkward third wheel on each team. It seemed, even though to say that about Sergey and that he wasn't an awkward third wheel, maybe a little bit different, but Sergey on his game for the most part until he just whiffed on the top rope chop. Atiba had, I believe it was McDiamond in the compromising position, and Sergey just kind of missed the top from the chop rope. So he's still a little bit iffy from the top rope right there. But anyway, Boss and Sergey, take out Queso afterwards. So fast paced, so everybody's in the ring. It's very, very back and forth. And then finally, Boss in there with McDiamond and not taking any prisoners whatsoever. Big body slam to McDiamond. And then we see the Bossy splash one more time. And Boss just putting his name on the victory, gets the win with the big splash. Your tag team champions, your Ignition champion, walking out of Ignition tonight with a big, big victory. Looking good. I was a little worried about Sergey. He seemed to kind of have lost his balance or his mojo a few times during the match.
He probably ate some bad food. It's okay.
I mean, maybe that's all it was. I mean, don't eat the gas station sushi is what they tell you. Maybe he likes it. I don't know. It's not an American delicacy. I'll tell you that right now, Sergey. That's not one of those things that like we go for in spades. It's just, it's not good. We know to stay away from it. So don't buy it ever again if that is the case. And hopefully everything ends up working out. But the tag team champions looking strong at the very end, and a lot of respect paid at the end between these 6 guys. There was no real animosity between these guys. It was just good, solid competition, but great 6-man tag to end the show. A lot of chaosity throughout the show this evening from top to bottom. A lot of great wrestling, a lot of good spots, a lot of fun. Sergey losing the chop off fest in the beginning to have to start the match because he kept throwing rock. He kept throwing rock, and Bruce Wayne said, "You're starting, Sergey." So a lot of great moments this evening. Awesome Ignition, as per usual, and the champions standing tall in the ring at the end. Good stuff.
Agreed, and we don't know what their future holds going towards Shocktober, but I'm sure we'll find out in the weeks ahead as we are getting ever so close to Shocktober, about 3 weeks away from tonight, I do believe.
It is
3 weeks from tonight is when Shocktober will be live.
This is creeping up on us, man. Yeah. October is almost here. It was just barely September.
And as of right now, there are only 2 matches confirmed as of right now, but there will be many more matches for Shocktober. We currently have on the docket, as of right now, unless something changes within the next 3 weeks, we have the main event set for your president of Rocky Mountain Pro, Danger Dean, going up against Curtis Cole. Remember, Danger Dean won the Colorado Cup back on Milestone to be able to have the opportunity that he has coming up in 3 weeks, and it will be against Curtis Cole. The other match will be for the NRW Championship between Damon Ace and Sin Bodhi. Stipulation to be determined because, as you know, that NRW Championship is only defended on pay-per-views or premium live events, whatever you want to call them nowadays. And it's always under a stipulation.
And we've seen the stipulation in NRW title matches be difference makers in the situation, and
be difference in general.
That's right.
Difference in general. We've seen quite a bit of creativity going into these matches.
That's right, and I love it. I'm here for it.
So those are your 2 matches that are already confirmed for Shocktober, but like I said, there will be many more matches that will be confirmed over the next few weeks leading into Shocktober. Again, folks, if you have not re-upped or bought into the Tier 2 membership on YouTube, it is $9.99. you will not only get Shocktober, but you'll get all future pay-per-views or premium live events going forward, and you will also be able to go back in time in the archives of Rocky Mountain Pro and check out all the other pay-per-views from the past, including this year's Aces Wild, Never Broken, Milestone, NRW with a few supercharges mixed in there. That's already given to you, and you can go back even further. You can go back years and check out Milestone 10, Milestone 9, the first ever Never Broken, first ever Aces Wild. You can go back as long as you're a member, because those are strictly membership only shows that you guys have access to. That's the beauty of having that tier 2 perk, is so that you can actually go back and learn more. If you're new to Rocky Mountain Pro and you want to see what it was back then, you can go ahead and do that. And not only that, will you get all the pay-per-views or premium live events, you will also get the tier 1 perks that we have here on the YouTube channel, which is all the emotes and the loyalty badges, and you will also be able to partake in a Q&A with a RMP talent with the dues and belts once a month. That is coming up vastly, pretty quickly, actually.
And those are fun. When
Yeah.
we do those interviews and have those nightly talks with a random RMP superstar or talent, those are fun. You don't want to miss those. You never know what you're going to get. We've had matches made. We've had things happen. People have bombed our calls before. You never know what is going to happen during a session with somebody from RMP. So don't miss those. Be here for those.
And as of right
Just don't know.
now, that stream is currently slated for the Sunday before Shocktober. So be on the lookout for more info on who the RMP talent is and the exact time and date that Sunday for.
That's October 1.
Is it October 1?
Yeah. I'm working a show on the 30th, that Saturday night. The next day, Sunday, is October 1.
All right, so
we'll have it on the first day.
So
October this year, October has a Friday the 13th.
Yes, it does.
Yeah,
yes,
it does.
It does.
It's not often to have a Friday the 13th, let alone in October.
No, this is true. Okay, so for everybody watching, just pretend that we have a random September 31st. Okay. So
yeah, September only has 30, bro.
It only has 30, so pretend that we have a 31st day.
You do the knuckle trick. January, February, March, April, May, June, July, August, September is 30, October is 31. See, you learn dudes and calendars today. Dudes and fists, I guess.
Right.
Boss man. The dudes. It's us.
But yeah, so that's going to happen on September 31st. Just pretend, folks. As far, no, I didn't realize that it was the first, because we're trying to do these the Sunday before the big shows, and yeah, so that's why.
And yeah,
that's why.
100%. I got you. That's good enough. Okay.
You made me lose my focus now. God damn it. Sorry, I can't believe it's October 1st. Damn it.
It's yeah, dude, we're right there.
No, that's good. That's good. So obviously you guys are going to want a little bit of update about what's going to happen on Sunday. To be honest, I don't know. Because nobody wants to make up their mind about what this freaking thing out here in the ocean wants to do. So as of right now, yeah. So, okay. So we, at least me and Marky, because I'm pretty sure you got this alert today too. We do have a tropical storm warning in our area. Yep.
Yeah. Coastal is going to get destroyed. So, regardless if this thing scoots a little to the left and hits us down here in Massachusetts, 90% of this hurricane is going right at mid-coast Maine. So please say a prayer that Coastal buy a surfboard so that he can surf the waves back down to Massachusetts, and he can share the office with me here at the lanes, and we can still do the show. We got to get him a surfboard or something. But boy, at least a boogie board. I don't know.
So we're probably going to take another 24 hours only because these next 24 hours are crucial, and at least what they said is going to kind of happen on Saturday. Because I guess Saturday is supposed to be the main event. Like that's when the thing's supposed to be like right next to us.
Yeah.
So we're gonna have to probably take another 24 hours at least to like really be sure about what this is going to do. The fact that we already have tropical storm warnings means we are also gonna have our fair share of bullshittery from this goddamn thing.
The
Um,
power loves to go out in New England. Our infrastructure is almost as old as the dirt it's built on here in New England,
it's
and
almost as
power
old as the Revolutionary War back in 1776. Well,
it
earlier than that,
yeah.
but
The power loves to go out in anything more than like an 8-inch storm. That's why here in New England is like 4 or 5 inches of snow. Who cares? Once it's up around a foot, we're like, oh man, we might lose power. We don't worry about shoveling. We don't worry about digging the car out. We just might lose power. So yeah, yeah, the grid's just rough around here. So that's more what we're worried about. The rain and the wind are gonna suck, but we are almost 95% of the time gonna lose power from something like this for a day or two.
well, hopefully it's only like 24 hours at most.
Hopefully.
Because that
Hopefully.
definitely puts a damper on dudes and belts on Sunday if that's the case.
Oh, wicked. But
Um, so as of right now, that's kind of where it stands. We had a pretty crappy summer in terms of precipitation and
all it did
rain
was rain.
and
All it did was
stuff.
rain.
So more than likely, this thing is going to wipe out every town that we're in anyway, because we are so
The
inundated with
ground's
water at the moment.
That's the problem. That's what they're talking about. The rivers are already like at crest. A
It
lot of
was
them are already
it
at
was
crest.
flooding a couple towns from Boston. Like there was like a couple feet of water going
Yeah,
through
this
the
is gonna suck.
town.
This is gonna
It's
suck around
not
here.
good. This we're kind of in a pickle. And they're saying there's another one coming up right behind it. Did you see that?
It's a few days behind it, but like possibility it follows a
Yeah.
very similar track. Yeah.
And that one's
So,
going to be a major hurricane too.
yeah, great. Oh, awesome. How much are train rides to Denver? Maybe we get out of Dodge for about a month or so. We spend a month out there
I don't
while
even
everything
know.
dries out here in
I don't even
October.
know anymore because by the time we'd go down there, they'd be getting ready for their first snow, and I don't want to deal with snow yet.
No, I'm fine with snow. That the snow's fine. I'm just getting sick and tired of all this water from the sky. It's just every day there's like a half inch of rain since the middle of May. I think in June, what it rained 27 out of 30 days, something like that.
I don't know, but
Ridiculous.
I think the last count, because I mean, I ride my bike quite a bit. I ride my Harley. I try to go up north as much as possible, and this year I'm pretty sure I only went up there once, and I believe it rained. Last I counted, like 9 out of the 12 weekends or something like that.
Easily this summer.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's something
it's been
stupid.
crazy.
Like it's probably one of the worst summers I've ever had to deal with in terms of
But last year,
bike riding.
I think it rained a grand total of 7 times all summer. We had a wicked dry, wicked kind of droughty
And I
summer
was okay
around
with
here
that
last year.
because I rode nonstop.
Yeah, right. With all that good stuff. But
that was a good summer for me.
like climatologically, we're on the other end of the spectrum, and now we got too much water. We got no bubbler to put it in. It's just all water everywhere. It's in the dirt.
We
It's on
don't
the
need a
ground.
bubbler no more.
I'm thirsty, dude. No, I don't need a. Well, I got a bottle right here, but
Dude,
at least if you purify some water,
we're
put a
about to get
bubbler in
3
your
to
house.
6 more inches of water. We don't need a water bubbler. Okay.
Oh well, collect your rainwater. It's cheap. It's
It
cheaper to
is.
go into the store and refill
Just
in
make
your
sure
bottles.
you boil it because you never know. You never
That's
know.
all.
Other than that, so yeah, just follow our socials. I'm sure RMP will retweet whatever we put out there. We're probably gonna make a definite decision about Sunday tomorrow, just because I don't feel comfortable saying anything right now. I can almost guarantee you that Coastal will not be on with us on Sunday. That you can almost guarantee. He's gonna get hurricane force winds. He's gonna be like on the left side of the eye for freak's sake.
No, he might eat the whole middle of the hurricane.
Yeah.
The question is whether or not the left side of the hurricane comes over our part of Massachusetts. Like that's whether or not we get some here in the part of, but where he lives in Maine, is taking 80% of the fat of this hurricane. So that poor boy, like I said, surfboard or boogie board is the only way that they
Get
are
him a
getting
paddle boat.
anywhere.
Get him a paddle boat. You know those paddle boats? They you just kind of paddle
With the
and
pedals, is his
yeah.
cardio that good? Is
I
his
don't
cardio
know.
that good? Can
I
he do that? It'll
I don't
help.
know.
It'll help his cardio. Actually,
But
help my cardio.
it's got the steering thing in the middle and stuff like that, and it's got the paddles, and you just kind of like just go like this the entire time, and you just
Dude, the hell
steer
with
with this
that.
little thing.
Let's go to the mini golf course in like Andover or whatever it is. We'll steal one of the bumper boats for him. We'll throw it in the pickup. We'll drive bumper boats down the street, bumping each other
Ah,
in the
you
middle of
know
the
what
street.
he should do? You know those flume rides that they have at like theme parks and stuff like that, like the water rides and stuff.
Yeah, yeah,
Just to have him quickly tomorrow, because it's not going to be up his way until probably like morning Saturday. Like
yeah.
we're supposed to start seeing it like tomorrow evening and tomorrow night, like be like start to see like the outside of it. He's not going to see any for another like 12 hours after the fact. So I think from now until like the end of Friday, he should just find a log and make a little cubby and just kind of cut up the center of it so that he could just get on there and float with an oar and just kind of work its way down across the Atlantic down to the edge of the Cape, and we'll pick him up from there.
Because it's been just as rainy up there, all in New England. It's been pouring all summer, so their ground's just as saturated as ours is here in Massachusetts. So it is not going to be pretty.
No.
Anywhere you look around New England, this is not going to be pretty. So. And it's been a while since we've had a big one like this come and scare the crap out of us like this. So
Well, Hurricane Bob was
I
what,
guess
91, 92, I think.
I think it was 92, 93. Yeah, I think I was like 11, 12 years old.
And that made
when that came
landfall
through.
like next to the Cape or like Rhode Island or something like that.
No. It came straight up through Rhode Island. And like the eye came right over Rhode Island, right over just a little west of Boston, and then went straight up. Like very little of it was over the Atlantic, Connecticut, Rhode Island, Massachusetts. Power was out for like 3-4 days
I'm
back in
sure
the day. That was a mess.
it'll probably be
So
worse
we're
now.
due, I guess. No,
Yeah,
it's looking to be about the same as Bob was. Bob was kind of a weak to mid 2 when it hit. This is going to be roughly the same thing.
this is a 1
So,
right now, I believe.
So yeah, it's still not going to be pretty, even if it's a 1.
Oh yeah.
That's still stronger than any thunderstorm that blows through. So it's still going to suck a lot. But we'll try to be here. We'll try to do the thing on Sunday night if we at all have power or if we at all can. We'll see what happens, though. It's a wicked question mark for us right now.
It's a question mark, and I think Marky can probably say the same thing, that we will probably be available for Coastal too, depending on his situation. So we're going to try and keep in touch with him.
Yeah.
If he needs assistance from us, because that is a definite possibility with this storm, the way that the storm's headed up in his direction, we just might call it just for the sake of just trying to be available in case him and his family need like shelter for a night or something like that, because there is definitely a possibility that that could happen.
This is one of those ones where we're not over
So-
exaggerating. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
So yeah, so we'll keep you guys updated. As of right now, we don't have a definite decision on Sunday's show, but I will hopefully by tomorrow we'll let you know everything that you need to know. Other than that, I know that RMP has the weekend off, so there's no pumping out any of that. Other than that, just tune in on Tuesdays, every Tuesday, for Rocky Mountain Pro Charge. You get to get the ins and outs on what's going on with RMP. Watching that show, you get to see all the stories, unfold before your eyes. And what we were kind of talking about today, especially with the Echo and Balaam and Brew situation, like that's being featured on Rocky Mountain Pro Charge quite a bit. So tune in the past couple episodes and you'll see exactly what we were talking about earlier tonight.
Wait. Mr. Fourth Row says that there is a show on Saturday.
That's not what I was told on Tuesday. What's today's date? The 14th?
Yep. So on the 16th? Oh, they're doing Mile High Flea Market. Okay.
Is that new? Because that never came up. Let me see. Let me confirm.
That's a cool spot for a show.
Here's a schedule. Oh, God damn it. Yep, he's right.
Da-da-da.
I'm just not going to listen to people no more, and I'm just going to have the schedule in front of me at all times. That's just kind of how we're going to
Listen
do
to
this from
Mr.
now
Fourth
on.
Row. He knows. Listen to Mr. Fourth Row.
Yeah,
That's what you listen to.
Yeah, we need Mr. Fourth Row here in chat, like bright and early every time, just in case. All right. Other than that, I think that's going to wrap up the show this evening. Final thoughts, Marky, before we sign off, because I gotta go to bed.
Yes, you do. Now, another wicked hot hitting Ignition. We saw a great Ignition last week. Another great one this week. Another chop fest in the main event. I'm loving the action in RMP. We've got a lot of questions going forward. Bruin, Echo, Adrian, Lola. A lot of good things happening. Keep watching. Be here for Charge. Be here for Ignition. Don't miss it.
Yeah, don't miss it.
Don't miss it, kid, huh?
Or else.
Don't do it.
Or else.
Don't repeat what you hear here. You hear?
Or else.
I tell you.
Or else.
Or else.
Or else.
ELTZ. Or else. Those are the things.
What things?
Exactly. Right.
Anyways, for myself,
have a great night, everybody.
For myself, Johnny Deathdrop, Marky Pins, we'll possibly see you guys on Sunday. If we don't see you on Sunday for whatever reason because of the storm, hopefully we will be back on Tuesday. I mean, if as long as we don't get hit as hard as we're expected, and it could easily change. It could just graze us, and we only get like an inch of rain and maybe like 30 miles an hour.
The entire time.
Yeah.
So
no, either way, Coastal's getting rocked. So
Coastal's getting destroyified. Yes. You know, he is absolutely.
There's no changing that.
He's getting hurricaned. Like he is getting rocked like a hurricane. Everything is hurricane.
Rock you like a hurricane.
Hurricane. Down.
All right.
So yeah, no, it's gonna be a tough time for him, but we'll see. Wish everybody a good weekend though if we don't see you. And thanks for tuning in tonight.
Absolutely. For myself, Johnny Deathdrop, Marky Pins, we'll see you guys, if not on Sunday, on Tuesday for another episode of Dudes and Builds Recharge. As always, folks, stay safe, stay classy, and we'll see y'all in the next one. Take care, folks. Yes, I hate Curtis Cole. There you go.